Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Debt Free Degree with DrRoz, my webinar where you can ask any question that you want to, and I just lay out the whole system. Somebody was asking me the other day about this being a passion project, and certainly it is born out of not wanting to see people struggle with so much debt. And I'm watching a new series in January, but I'm recording it now, and I'll just tease it up a little bit. The title of the series is called Dang, I wish I knew you when I went to college. And even today, I was having a conversation with somebody not related at all to Debt Free Degree, but then it came back around to, hey, what do you do? And I told her, and she said, dang, I wish we knew you when our kids went to college. And so it happens all the time. And so that's part of what Debt Free Degree is about, is how can I help you not accept all this student loan debt? How can I help you love yourself enough to earn a debt-free degree? So just delighted that you're here. My system is built on the acronym GRIT. And so I'm going to go through these relatively quickly, and then I'll do a deeper dive. So the G is for grants and scholarships. And let me remind y'all, for those of you that have registered for the webinar, then you will get this recording in your email, and you can, certainly ask questions. So some questions have been submitted ahead of time from my Patreon members. And so you'll hear those answers. So all the recordings are housed over in my Patreon. So even if you if you join the Patreon, then you'll see different recordings over there. So take notes, take as many notes as you need to, certainly ask all the questions that you want to, and then you'll have that recording. So I hope that helps y'all. So yes, so the G is for grants and scholarships. The R is return on investment. The I is interconnected, and the T is my proven triangle approach. Now, if you think of a three-legged stool, so SM, that's student money. FM, your friends, your family, your folks, the people you're familiar with, it's their money. And then OPM is our favorite, and y'all can see my jacket. OPM is what? Other people's money. We're going to talk about that. And so when people ask me about Debt Free Degree, I said, oh, it's so simple. So I just laid out the whole plan. There you go. If you have heard what you need and you're good to go, excellent. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's going to take you both resilience and tenacity. And what do I mean by that? In a little bit, I'm going to show you how much just an average of about $100,000 to look at for a degree. So paying that off in student loans is not easy. And so figuring out how you're going to come up with that amount of money to be able to avoid student loans, it's going to take some tenacity on your part. It's going to take really digging into some things, really looking at how can I piece things together. There are a lot of groups out there that are 100% scholarship based, and they are outstanding. There's one that we partner with here at Debt Free Degree, outstanding. So what Debt Free Degree does is, around that scholarship piece, around that grants piece, then we teach you all the tips, tricks, and tools so that you can be resilient, so that you can be tenacious, so that you can graduate fully debt free. The reality is student loan debt is crippling right now. And the more and more I talk to people who are still carrying this debt for decades, it really is something that's just so unfair that we do to our students. So anything I can do to help you avoid the student loan debt is what I want to do. A lot of people think that that debt, particularly student loan debt, is a prerequisite for adulthood. And I'm here to tell you that is a myth. That is absolutely not true. And so even if you're surrounded by people that say, take the loans and figure out how to pay it off later, or the loans are really, really difficult and it's really, really hard, but there's no other way. I have a good friend who is in the, I'll say, financial services arena in terms of a profession. And when I talk about Debt Free Degree, she always pushes back and she says, I took the loans because I went where I felt comfortable, but she's still paying the loans. And so I believe it's entirely possible for you to find some place where you're comfortable and not take student loan debt. And so sometimes we get kind of baked in. It's like, well, I did it. And so rather than me turning to somebody else and saying, hey, I made a mistake, I wish I hadn't done the student loan debt, and so let me help others, I think a lot of people are like, look, I'm stuck paying these loans. Y'all gonna have to do it too. And I just want to stop that. And so let's dive in a little bit more about the G, grants and scholarships. There are 1.7 million private scholarships and fellowships provided every single year. Over on the Patreon page, I'm going to be interviewing a director at one of the colleges who is a director of a phenomenal scholarship program that's offered at a lot of different schools. There's also 46 billion with a B, $46 billion in grants and scholarships out there. So if you say, oh, well, I'm an average student, and so I'm not going to get any scholarships, or we make too much money, so I'm not going to get any scholarships, or whatever. There are so many grants and scholarships out there, and tapping into that 46 billion is really, really critical to graduating fully debt-free. The R is return on investment. So this is what I was saying. Basically, what I did is I put in all 50 states and I put them in a random generator, and I just pulled one and I said, okay, this is whatever their flagship institution was. So University of that particular state. And I went and I added up tuition, books, fees, room and board. That's all I added up. There are a lot of other fees that go along with college, but those are the basics: tuition, books, fees, room, and board. And I came up with 12,270. Then I multiplied it by 8, even though we know there's no educational value to graduating in 4 years, but that's often what we hear. You're going to graduate in 4 years. And so that's 8 semesters, and that comes out to $98,160. Here's the thing though, y'all, when you are out there and you're doing your research, you know that $12,000 a semester is quite low in a lot of areas. So you certainly can find them lower, but you can find them much, 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 much higher. The other thing is many institutions, their highest graduation rate is 5 years, not 4. So you would multiply this number times 10. So you can see how it's ballooning out. So that's why I land on about $100,000. Certainly you can do it for far less, but I talked to somebody the other day that her student loan debt is over $200,000. And so, certainly you can, get yourself in a lot of debt with a lot more than this for a college degree as well. So when people say return on investment, I want you to understand that time is certainly one of the factors that you need to be thinking about. And so if you work a full-time job, that's 40 hours a week, I want you to understand that that is just 24% of your week. Even if you work a full-time job, you still have 76% of your week that you can spend on school and on life. And so thinking about creatively how to be strategic in where are you putting your time and your energy, understanding I'm not asking you to do this forever where you are working full-time and you're in school full-time, etc. A lot of people will say, there's just no way I can work full-time. I completely respect that. However, there are a lot of opportunities to work full-time and to be able to impact that so that you are graduating fully debt-free. One of my favorite people on the planet is Tyler Perry. And whenever I think about, Elizabeth, what are you getting done in your week? I always think about Tyler Perry. I mean, he is obviously a brilliant actor and producer and writer, and now he owns his own studio. And so he's got this whole production company. And every single week he plays not only himself, but Medea. So he's got 168 hours a week and he's playing 2 people. So I just want you to think about what are the costs, the indirect costs on your return on investment in terms of your time and your stress and your health. I want you to fast forward at graduation and you walk across that stage and you don't have any debt. So from that point forward, what does your time look like? What does your stress level look like? And what does your health look like if you're able to graduate fully debt-free? So obviously life holds many roles, and it's just something to think about in terms of return on investment. Right now, 38% of all students who owe student loan debt owe over 100 grand, over 6 figures. And the student loan debt nationwide is 1.76 trillion. So my role, my passion, my job is to make sure that we're not adding to that. So let's dive into this student money. Here are a couple of ways that you can save money. So over on my Patreon page, I have videos that teaching videos that go deeper into a lot of these. And a lot of them are tagged either ways to make money or ways to save money. And one way you can save money is with textbooks. So you can rent textbooks, you can share textbooks, you can ask the professor, hey, are we even going to be using this textbook? Another way is having a car on campus. Sometimes if you have the car, then everybody's like, hey, will you take me to the store? Will you be our DD? That kind of thing. Obviously, there's the wear and tear on the car, but even parking can be exorbitant. There's one school that I researched recently. I've researched so many that I don't remember now which one it was. Parking fees, $800. $800 a semester. So if you're there 10 semesters, you have given that institution $8,000 for the privilege of parking your car on their campus. It's just something to think about. Another great way to save money is your student ID. As you can imagine, certainly on campus and, around campus, you can show your ID for discounts. But I have a student that's up north, and he showed it at a haircut place and got a $5 haircut. And so all different kinds of ways to be saving money with your student ID. Another one is jobs. Even if you don't want to work full time, I completely understand. But making sure that you have a job that not only is giving you money in exchange for your zone of genius, your time, you're giving your time and your talents, and they're giving you money. But let's be strategic and say, what else will you give me? So will you give me tuition assistance? Will you give me free food or a discount on food? How can I make sure that the time that I'm putting there, that I'm maximizing it and getting every benefit that I can? And then the last thing is networking. Those of you that know me know I love to get my nails done. And this is probably about 2 years ago now, but I was getting my nails done. And so the lady sitting across from me that was doing my nails, she said, oh, are you not working today? And I said, oh, I'm working, but I work for myself. And so then the young lady sitting beside me who was getting her nails done, she said, oh, what do you do? And I said, oh, I teach students how to graduate fully debt free. She was a high school senior. She immediately, we had this whole conversation for an hour where I just laser coached her, and she was heading to a private institution, a very excellent institution, with a very niche degree where she was going to accrue at least $50,000 in debt over 4 years. And so instead we helped strategize, and she opted to go to the state school where she was offered not only free tuition and fees, we're in Georgia, but she had also been awarded a stipend. And so she's going to be making money every semester. And so we talked about the niche major that she wanted at the private institution and how to cobble that together so that she graduated fully debt free. And then of course she joined the Patreon. So delighted with stories like that. So networking, you just never know. FM, your friends, your family, your folks, the people you're familiar with. One of the things I love this, one of the things is when students say, you know what, there are 7 days a week, so I don't need more than 7 shirts and 7 pair of pants, that kind of thing. So if you have a family member and you're giving gifts, sometimes a student may say, give me the basics, but then whatever extra, grandmother, aunt, whatever you would have spent on gifts, will you please give me cash? And I'll put it, like you can just create a savings account, attached to your checking account and just kind of sock money away there. Another thing is we see GoFundMe's all the time for, honeymoons and weddings and registries, babies, that kind of thing. Why not do a GoFundMe for your college education? Because even if you get the tuition, books, fees, room and board paid for, which is difficult to do, but even if you did, you still are going to have added expenses, and that GoFundMe would be really, really helpful. The other thing is a registry. Again, if you have a baby, if you have a housewarming, if you're having a wedding, oftentimes you'll go on Amazon or somewhere and have a registry. Well, why not have a registry on Amazon? So if somebody wants to send you something for graduation, they can send you something that they think would be important, or you could say, here's my registry. I know that buying a pair of sheets is not the most exciting thing. However, that's going to save you X amount of dollars. So having a registry is a great way. As I've said, and as you can see on my shirt, OPM is king, and that is other people's money. $46 billion in grants and scholarships out there. You know, there's not that much money that I'm aware of to help me buy a car, to help me buy a home, but there's that amount of money to, again, love yourself enough to go find these tips, tricks, and tools. And you don't have to do it by yourself. When you join the Patreon page, you can ask me anything. And, you know, while it's my team that puts together the videos and the content and, you know, all my social media and all of that, it is me who answers every single question. And I'm going to dig into those in just a minute. Every single question that's provided there in the Patreon. And so I thank you for that. So making sure that you're really using all these tips, tricks, and tools to utilize and maximize other people's money. So I'm curious, are you now committed to earning a debt-free degree? Do you want to graduate in the black? Or do you want to graduate in the red with that broken little piggy bank where you're like, I'll just hobble along and be stuck with this debt? So if your answer is yes, that you're ready to say, yes, I want to graduate with a debt-free degree, then what will your story be? What will your SM and your FM and your OPM be? What does that look like? Begin thinking about that. I want to know, who are you going to be, and what will you do, and what will you have as a result of graduating fully debt-free? So what will growth look like? What will relationships look like? How much expendable income are you going to have when you graduate debt-free so that you can go on trips, or you can invest in real estate, or you get some latitude in terms of a career? You get to have hobbies. Who are you going to be? What will you do, and what will you have as a result of graduating fully debt-free? So a little bit about me. I have 3 degrees, and including my PhD, I only took $1,000 in loans. And my program is very simple, but it's not easy. So I'm thinking about that average $75,000 in student loan debt. So how can I help you avoid that? How can I help you graduate without that? And then what does your trajectory look like? So if at the end of this webinar, I've answered all of your questions and you're good to go, excellent, excellent. If you would like more support, I do offer a Patreon page, and it is just $10 a month. There's the QR code there. Again, for $10 a month, you have access to all of the videos. They're tagged, getting ready to do collections in there. So if you're like, I want only the post about scholarships, or I want only the post about how to start a debt-free degree club, then that will be in there. And as I said, every single question, I'm the one answering that. I had a young lady that wrote me a couple of months ago, and she literally wrote 2 words: I'm stuck. And we started having a conversation, and it just got her going again. So again, for just $10 a month, if you, your family, if you want to start a club, then you have access to that. And so I'm going to, while you all, if you want to put the questions in the chat, that would be great. I do have 2 from my Patreon that I want to answer. One is, hey, Dr. Roz, how do you recommend people, or do you recommend people use AI for college scholarship essays? This is an excellent question. I love, love, love AI. I believe in being an early adopter of things, and I also believe in academic rigor and standards. And certainly when I wrote my dissertation, every single word in there was not mine, because I had read all these other things, and I took bits and pieces and took what they said and then turned it around, put my own spin on it, and then, of course, cited them. And then for other things, I did a direct quote. And so all of us have been using AI for a really long time. If you've got an institution that's used turnitin.com, then that was AI. If you use Grammarly, if you've used, you know, some of these other, even that little squiggly when you're writing and you get the squiggly, that's AI. It's all artificially generated. And so it's understanding how to use it effectively, efficiently. And I want you to know, I see colleges, I'm going to put something in the Patreon later about this. I see colleges all the time that are saying, we are not going to do this. You know, you must not ever use AI. I think that that's short-sighted. Then I've got other institutions, and this is the one that I'm going to drop in there. They're having a whole seminar about how to use AI effectively, efficiently, in terms of ethics within a college setting. And so that would be what I would say about AI. I'm writing a book, and I don't mind saying I'm using AI to generate, just like to tweak. So I've written, say, a paragraph, and I put it in there and I say, can you, make the tone a little more formal? Can you make the tone a little more humorous or something like that? And so it's tweaks. Now, if I went in AI and I said, will you please write a Debt-Free Degree with DrRoz book, that it's not going to generate anything worth reading. And so you're going to have your own stamp on it. So that's what's important. So Cameron, excellent question on that. And then Sophia says that she is a junior and she's already accrued $9,000. And is it too late for her? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I love this question, because what happens is people say, well, I've already got this debt, I'll just keep adding to it. Absolutely not. Let's do this. So it's fall semester. So those of you that are watching the recording, this is September of 2023 that we're recording this particular one. So Sophia, I imagine that you're already in fall semester. So there's some things we can put in place for spring semester. Number one, we have some holidays coming up. So maybe digging in and asking everybody not to give you any gifts whatsoever. Maybe you can say, hey, can I just maximize this particular holiday time? And will you please just give money? You can, ask grandparents, you can ask friends. Certainly the GoFundMe is something that a lot of people are doing, or even the registry. If there are things you're going to be spending money on, then the registry. The other thing I would really want you to look at is what is your housing and what is your food and what are your fees? Because there are oftentimes places in there that we can reduce or cut back or even cut it out. And so let's say, for example, that that your housing is quite exorbitant, but you have the opportunity to either lessen that dramatically or live at home, let's say. Then maybe consider doing that for a semester. And then that gives us time to begin working with the scholarship informer. That's who we partner with scholarships, to work with a scholarship informer and looking at scholarships for your senior year. There are also a lot of ways that you can look at other institutions. So if you went into your school's transfer articulation and you have a drop down and you're like, you know what, I have this local community college that I can do classes this summer, then you can see if those local community college classes will transfer to your institution. And that's a way to earn credits at a much cheaper rate. And so those are just some of the ways, Sophia, but kudos to you. And my hope for you is that you love yourself enough that you will only have this $9,000. And then let's work on a plan to get that paid off as quickly as possible so that your trajectory is completely debt-free. And so with that, I think that is all the questions, unless I've got questions in the chat, but I'm not seeing any in there. But I want to make sure. Okay, not seeing any in there. Okay, well, Cameron and Sophia, I answered those questions, and I appreciate y'all watching this. Appreciate y'all being a part of the Debt-Free Degree community. If you've joined the Patreon, I really, really appreciate it. If you are interested in starting a Debt-Free Degree club, reach out. As I said, I'm about to have collections in the Debt-Free Degree Patreon community, specifically for folks who want to be club advisors. And let's start a revolution, y'all. Let's start a revolution. One of my favorite quotes by Martin Luther King is, a movement that moves merely people is a revolt, but a movement that changes people and institutions. So it's not just moving you from here to here. It's changing you, changing the structure. That's a revolution. And I am delighted for you to come on board and join the Debt-Free Revolution. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.